Everybody, this is Randy Searles. I'm a editor, writer, and ghostwriter, and a book coach. I was in the military for over 20 years. I was a Green Beret and a Ranger, and I've edited best-selling New York Times bestsellers, Amazon bestsellers. I've ghostwritten New York or Amazon bestsellers, and I started this with my buddy Dan, who wrote a book that I edited to just inform people about publishing, writing, editing, book coaching, whatever they want to know about the industry. So, if you have any questions, feel free to write me. If not, I think Dan couldn't make it today, so it's going to be a quick one, and then we'll probably take a break until January. So today, I just wanted to talk about writing, like writing. Is it worth it to write 200 words a day, for instance, or 500 words a day, or 1,000 words a day if you're doing like NaNoWriMo stuff where you want to write a 50,000 word book in a month, where I think it's 1,400 words a day or something like that. And is that valuable? Or is it more valuable to do writing exercises and learn skills so that your writing isn't wasted? And so I think I got a dual answer for you. So writing words a day, it can be like kind of a mental floss, if you will. It can be like just getting your ideas in your head so that you'll have something to write about when you write your good writing. But I think there's some value also in learning the skills to write, which are there. Writing's, someone told me the other day, writing's the only skill, the only professional skill where people will be in a, have a career, and they'll just like, I'm going to go write a book. And then they'll just write a book, and they'll say, people write books all the time. I can write a book, but they don't seem to realize that writing is a profession, and there are skills in this profession. There's skills on how to write scenes, on how to create a compelling story, on how to create a compelling character arc. And these skills can be learned and they can be taught. But I've had people come to me who admit to me that they just don't read books. They want to write. They wrote a fiction thriller, but they don't. I was like, well, what do you like to read? I was like, I don't like to read fiction books. And the book, a lot of times, the book that they submitted to me proves it, because they don't know how to tell a compelling story. They're used to seeing the stories on the TV or in movies, and that's what they're trying to, or comic books is in some cases. And so that is the kind of story, the way their writing is. But that's not why people come to books a lot of times. That people want to read books. They want more than what TV and movies have to offer. Now, that's not to say they don't like to see their favorite book in a media format, but the turning that image, like that movie image, into a book is not as easy as it sounds. And I think I remember trying to find the book of like Star Wars or Highlander, the movie, because those were screenplays, and then someone tried to write the book, and it was never very good. It wasn't as good as the experience with the movie. But then you'll see people read books, and then they make the books into movies, and people will say the book's better. So I would argue that the Princess Bride book is better than the Princess Bride movie, just by the way he wrote the books. And Game of Thrones also, though it has some really great visual scenes, a lot of the stuff in the book is just brings more texture and the way it's presented and things like that. So I say write. If you want to write 500 words a day, then go for it. And I think that's great for getting your ideas down on paper, and kind of wrestling with how you're going to attack different plot points and things like that. But I would also say invest in skills. And there's a lot of different companies that sell skills. Robert McKee has his own webpage where he's been writing books on writing for a while and giving lectures on it. And he has specific skills that aren't too expensive. There's StoryGrid has mentoring. There's a lot of companies that do mentoring, like kind of mentor you on the skills and then mentor you on writing your book chapter by chapter. They aren't cheap, but I've seen them be productive for sure and making better writers of people. So that's kind of like the topic I wanted to discuss, and just kind of put out there, because NaNoWriMo, for those of you guys who remember it, National Novel Writing Month. I don't know if it still exists, but it was a big thing for a long time. NaNoWriMo was a really good deal, but the theory behind it was you write 1,400 words a day, and by the end of the month of November, you'll get 50,000 word book. And I don't know how many people I know who finished that and did it like 4 times in a row. So they have 4 50,000 word books, but they never published any of them because it was just them trying to get as many words as they could out of it, and then winning the non-monetary good job prize at the end, and saying I finished this 4 times, which was it's a good accomplishment. I personally didn't ever do that for a full month in NaNoWriMo, and I never finished my 50,000. But making those words into something viable that you can sell, or make into a book, and find an agent or a publisher for, is a completely different story, I think, for most people. I don't know anybody who actually took the book that they finished after the end of the month, November, and used that as the book that they were going to publish. So there are a lot of skills that need to be learned to write well. I would say that very few people are natural writers, very few, just like there are very few professional athletes. But you can learn to write better, and so it's worth it to kind of invest your time and maybe a little bit of money into that process. And that's all I got to say today. So I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. If you have any questions, you can go to my webpage at militaryeditor.com and feel free to write me a question, or if you need me to talk about your work in progress, I can do that. And Dan and I will be back in January. Take care.